We're shooting school now. I'm a teacher, and you're a student, okay? I'm going to have you come over here. Yep. Perfect. You can play with the duck. Right. Here, over here.
Let's go, Papa.
Hey, kids! Rex here. Welcome back. It's week 6, day 2. Well, the schedule's kind of messed up, so it's the first new content of the week. Today's reflection question: if you like to go out to fast food or a restaurant, what's your favorite restaurant or fast food joint? What's your favorite item? This question brought to you by Jasmine C. Thanks, Jasmine. See you later. All right, kids, welcome back. I'm at my off-site studio here at my brother's and Mercury's house. We're playing school. All right, we've got 10 agenda items here today. 1, keep active, keep healthy. 2, we're going to check in on self-improvement, that little lesson I gave you last week. 3, we're going to talk about the mystery box. 4, we've got favorite sayings. 5, we have our we don't have our show and tell, so keep on submitting to our show and tell because I'm here at the offsite studio. 6, teacher appreciation week this week. Agenda item 7, yearbook update. Agenda item 8, we've got a couple of articles we're going to read a little from the sports page. And agenda item 9, we've got comic strips from the Star Tribune. And then finally, agenda item 10, I'm going to talk about today's activity. All right, Mercury, you want to come up here and say hi to the class?
No.
He doesn't want anything to do with any of you. Don't blame him. Hey-oh, shots fired. All right, agenda item number 1, keep active, keep healthy. I just came from a 5 3/4 mile run. Along that, I walked and aggressively ran a 4x400. So keeping active as I'm getting more fit, as the springtime advances and my body is able to take it, I'm gonna fit in some more aggressive workouts just working out. I want to be an athlete. Just try to adapt to that lifestyle. So I like to skydive, I like to base jump. I've shared some of those things. I'm going to take a skateboard home with me from my brother and Amanda, and I'm going to try some things with that. So you got to keep your body able to sustain and against the elements. So again, keep active, keep healthy. All right, agenda item 2, self-improvement. I challenge you all to get better. We're at stay-at-home orders from the governor. I challenge you to learn a new skill. You're away from your friends. You have time, more time to yourself. Make yourself a better person.
No.
I'm learning video editing.
Yeah.
Yes, I am learning video editing, and I'm getting a little bit better. I'm hopefully making these videos more entertaining for you, more engaging. All right, I'm gonna play with this. Oh, here they come! Quack, 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 quack. All right, so get better. Be a better person every day. Agenda item 3, mystery box. Shout out to Silas, Noah B, Maddie, Sophie, Mason, and Tyler in the short class period that we had. Thank you for calling in. It was kind of a messed up schedule due to the extension of distance learning. We had Friday and Monday off, but I had those students call in, so great job. I say that was the best mystery box item, and by all of your expressions when I showed it to you and shared it with you, you agreed. You were smiling and laughing, so that was fun. Thanks, Mercury. All right, agenda item 4, favorite sayings from students. This one comes from Caden L. A time flies when you're having fun. I agree, and all the more reason to keep active, keep healthy, get outside, get on your bicycle rides. Time's moving in self-quarantine and distance learning. So get yourself some fun. Time flies when you're having fun. Thank you, Caden. Next saying is from Tyler M. When in doubt, throttle out. I like it. I know he's into motorcycles. He likes to ride his dirt bike, and he's into engines. I'm the same way. I've got a motorcycle. I'm looking forward to get out. I'm the same way. I like to get around engines, so when in doubt, throttle out. And he likened that when things get hard and you don't know, give it some gas. Give it your all. Work hard. I like that saying. So thanks, Tyler. Agenda item 5. We don't have a show and tell, so we're gonna be moving along. But I have that show and tell link active. I noticed that a lot of you have posted to it, so it's not that we didn't have show and tell items. It's that we just I don't have a computer. I'm here filming at my brother's and Mercury's for the schoolhouse, so I took the opportunity to have a little fun with this video. So no show and tell this week. Next week's going to be even bigger because I'll have collected all of those more photos from you. So keep submitting. It's been well. Agenda item 6. It's Teacher Appreciation Week. Again, so language arts, go out and message your teacher. Had some of you message me. I really appreciate it. Thank you to those students who reached out and thanked the teachers. So go out and thank your teachers. It's Teacher Appreciation Week. Yes, we agree. Agenda item 7, yearbook update. Mr. Adi, who's in charge of the yearbook, has confirmed that those of you who did pre-order your yearbooks will get them when it's student stuff pickup day, whatever they're going to call it. And that message, I don't believe that information has been passed out to families, so just sit tight. Cottage Grove Middle School is organizing a day in the future as we close out our school year for families, students to come in, gather your belongings. Things are being organized, and in a safe, very orderly manner, we're going to be bringing you your supplies. So if you've already ordered a yearbook, your yearbook will be brought to you when it's that pickup day. I think it's just going to be you driving up. We'll be bringing out to you your belongings and things that have been collected. Otherwise, if you have not ordered a yearbook, buy them right on the spot. So if you want to buy one on the, it's not so. If you have more questions about the yearbook, contact our librarian, media specialist, Mr. Adi, or any of the administrators would give you accurate information. Agenda item 8, our sports page. My girlfriend goes into the office. Paper, thank you to her. So Star Tribune, this was from Monday, May 4th, an article written by Jim Suhan. It's easy to envision Rodgers in purple. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but would Aaron Rodgers be the greatest quarterback ever to play for the Vikings, or just in the top 3? And how well would he work with quarterbacks coach Brett Favre? If you think this is a satire, you haven't been paying attention to the Packers, the Vikings, the history of great NFL quarterbacks, or the NFL's new approach to mega contracts. First, let's just be logical about this. If there can be murder hornets in the United States in 2020, if the U.S. government can acknowledge the presence of UFOs and not make a dent in the news cycle, surely Aaron Rodgers wearing purple is hardly out of the realm of possibility. He's being funny here. Remember, there was never any way Favre could ever play for the Vikings, and then Brad Childress was picking him up at the airport. Impossible is just a word we use for stuff we haven't figured out yet. So let's figure this out. Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins is signed through the 2022 season. Rodgers is signed with Green Bay through 2023. Great NFL quarterbacks frequently leave their original franchises to finish their careers with the other teams. Favre finished with the Vikings. Joe Montana finished his career with the Chiefs. Johnny Unitas with the Chargers. Joe Namath with the Rams. Peyton Manning with the Broncos. And Tom Brady with the Chargers. Just wait. I'm not going to read the rest of that, but interesting thought. Could Rodgers come and play for the Vikings? We've already seen a familiar story from that with Brett Favre. So what do you think? Tuesday, May 5th, 2020. Schools make strides to boost mental health. By Chip Scoggins. I'm sorry, I'm ignorant about how to pronounce his name. Hey, Dad, do you know how to pronounce this guy's spelled C-U-P-I-T-O? Let's see. Hey, Jason. You ever heard of the Gopher quarterback? Is that how you pronounce it? It's spelled C-U-P-I-T-O. He played for them in 2004. I'm going to mispronounce it. Brian Cupido experienced athletic failure for the first time in his life as a starting quarterback for the Gophers football team in 2004. His team dropped back-to-back games after a 5-0 start. Cupido lost confidence, outside criticism followed, and he began overthinking routine fundamentals. Mentally, he said Monday, it was just a nightmare. Cupido never considered seeking help from a sports psychologist. He didn't even know if the school employed one. Besides, mental health wasn't a topic people discussed freely back then. Progress in this area is a wonderful thing. Last year, the Gophers athletic department surveyed all 600 plus athletes and found that between 30% and 40% of them have used the department's sports psychology services. I was kind of hoping it would be even just a little bit higher, said Joy Thomas, Senior Associate Athletic Director who oversees health and performance. It's a great article. Talks about, I like how it talks about mental health. Throughout life, whether you're playing athletics or not, mental health is so important for you to be able to endure and face conflict or sports challenges. So your confidence is a huge part of being a high athletic performer, an achiever in athletic competition, but so too does it apply to regular life. So keep your mental health strong, keep it up. If you need help, let us know. Let your families know, and hopefully there's people there for you. Let me know if you need any help. Item 9, comic strips. All right, this one is by Zitz, by Jerry Scott and Jim Borgman. Whoa, that looks like a silverback gorilla. Roar, drinking coffee. Watch it, Dad's in a mood. Oh, I get it. Silverback gorilla is an anthropomorphic display of the dad. It's a metaphor. It's anthropomorphism. This one's titled Tundra by Chad Carpenter. The fish is jumping out of the bear's claws. Ha! Too slow. But only to fly into the bird's talons. A familiar idiomatic expression of out of the frying pan and into the fire. Jumping from one danger to another. Be careful out there. A comic titled Mother Goose and Grimm. Day 47. This is from last week. Of course, referring to the stay-at-home orders of the governor. Day 47. I think it's day 55 today on Thursday, May 7th. That's me, alone in my apartment. Agenda item 10. Your activity today is going to be focused on sequencing events, understanding order and detail. So the reading inside the activity you'll find it requires you to pay attention to the details. So it's a form of technical reading. And it's important that as you go through and answer the questions in today's activity, that you go back and read for details. So reread, have it open, go back and check for the details. All right, that's it. Have a great day. Actually, it's time for Read Aloud, Language Arts. Yeah, come on, say bye. Come on, Mercury.
Bye,
Come over here. Come in here. Say bye, Cottage Grove Middle School. That was fun. All right, let's continue reading Bears of the Ice by Catherine Lasky, chapter 27. On the spine. I don't like how that sounds. As the three cubs ran, Jite glanced back over her shoulder at the advancing Roger bears, then ahead at the ice spines that arched high into the air, stretching across a seemingly bottomless abyss. It became immediately clear that the only way to escape the Rogers was to run along one of the ice spines that spanned the deep ravine. The slender boughs of ice would never sustain the weight of a full-grown bear, but the lighter cubs might have a chance they must take, because rushing toward them were the infamous Rogers that Moon Eyes had told them about. Ahead were the silver spines of ice. Below, the earth fell away into a vast depth and certain death. Stellan gasped. How will we ever get across? In order to get onto one of the spines, they'd have to jump. Follow me, Third shouted, and then made a spectacular leap through the air. He landed on the ice spine that connected the mountain that they were on with the volcano. Jite held her breath
To her relief, she saw that the spindle of ice was holding Third's weight. Follow him? Stellan peered into the ravine and felt a dizzying swirl. It was as if the world fell away completely. His legs felt weak, like every single bone in his body was melting. He clamped his eyes shut. He simply could not look down. Won't it break? No, it won't. It can hold us and hopefully not them, Jite said, glancing back at the 4 Roger bears. But despite her words, her voice trembled. Then she shrieked as she saw 2 bears begin to swirl a net in the air. Jump! Jump! Third cried out as the filigree of the net printed against the morning sky. It had been thrown up. The 2 cubs locked eyes for a brief moment, then ran toward the sliver of ice. Stellan felt the muscles in his hind legs gather, the ones in his shoulders stretch. He did not think. He just leapt. There was a dizzying moment of weightlessness as he launched himself into thin air. Then he heard a creak and not a crack, then a second creak. Did that mean they both had landed? It must, Stellan thought, and looked back and saw his sister straddling the ice spine. Third looked over his shoulder at the cubs. Slide, he commanded. Slide across on your bellies. Don't look down. Stellan willed himself not to look, as the drop into the abyss was enormous. He couldn't hear the Rogers talking, and their voice propelled him. He could hear the Rogers talking, and their voices propelled him onward. Don't look down. Don't look back. The next spine over could hold you. The next spine over could hold you, Jart. You're the lightest, one of the Rogers said. That spine is not that thin, Jart. You'll do fine. Take the net to use when you get close to them. Keep going, Third said. Keep going. Don't listen to them. Just concentrate. Spread your weight if you can, Stellan, Jite said. Straddle the spine. She had closed her eyes tightly, and in her mind's eye she could see precisely how this ice was structured, exactly how the crystals locked together. Remember, she's an ice gazer. Stellan grew alarmed as the ice spine seemed to grow narrower as he inched his way across the great abyss. He was not at the halfway point, but the spine started to arc upward at a steep angle. We must go slower. The ice is more fragile. The crystals... Jite's voice trailed off. She felt her heart beat faster as her breath grew shallow. She knew that this slender sliver of ice could snap any second. But instead of thinking about that, she had to focus on what she knew about ice. She must let the ice tell her its story. We can't all reach the top at once. I can hear cracklings into the spine. I can smell it melting as the sun rises and the ice wears thin. Third, you go over the summit first, then Stellan. But wait until Third is almost across. Then I'll come. Understand? She seems to know how the ice works. Yes, the other 2 cubs replied. Behind them, they could hear slaps of the net being flung out vainly by the Rogers. Thankfully, their aim was no good, but occasionally the edge of the net would hit their ice spine, and the cubs would feel a shudder. Behind them, the Rogers were arguing. They were still trying to convince the bear Jart to climb out onto one of the other spines. Jart, that spine, the next one over, it's stronger, I can tell, one was saying. If you go out on that with a net, you'll bag one of them. So I get to die trying to get these cursed cubs just to get a few more TikToks? Third shuddered at the sound of the words TikTok. He saw the blood that had seeped into her mother's dreams. He was almost at the top of the spine, but he was quivering so hard he could barely grip with his knees. The ice had grown slick as the sun rose. He felt, that means the ice is melting, he felt his grip weakening. He was sliding back. If he slid into Stellan, it would be too much weight at a critical point. Don't slide back, Third. Hold on tighter, Jite barked. Third gripped the slender spine with all his might and climbed upward. Only when he reached the top could he loosen his aching grip and let himself slide down the other side. He was doing it. He was not sure how, but his grasp was holding. He began to slide, and within seconds bumped onto the land. I'm across! A few moments later, Stellan arrived. As he scrambled to his feet, both cubs turned to look for Jite. To their dismay, they saw she was not yet at the top of the arc. The Roger bears were cheering on Jart, who was on the next spine over. "That's it, Jart! Good fellow! I knew you could do it!" The bear Jart was as tall as he was slender. Balancing on the thin spine next to Jite's, he stood up to his full height and began to swing the net above his head. Jite froze as she saw the tracery of dark mesh drift languidly against the azure sky, that means blue, was plummeting toward her like a circle of death. She had only a split second to escape it. Without thinking, she slung herself under the ice spine and hung on by her claws upside down. The net hit the spine. She felt the mesh drag across the tops of her claws, but it did not snag. Try it again, the other Rogers roared. You can make it, Jite, you can! Third called to her. Not far, Jite, stay upside down, Stellan urged. Jart let out a frustrated growl. I'll get her next time. Fury rose in Stellan, boiling anger like he had never known. There was a good-sized rock where he stood on the slope of the volcano. He reached down and picked it up. He narrowed his eyes and calculated the distance. He didn't have much time. Jart was gathering in the net to cast it again. Just as Jart lifted his arm into the air, Stellan threw the rock. There was a soft thud as the rock hit the top of Jart's head. The net fell from his paw into the abyss. Jart began to wobble. A strange quavery roar came from deep in his lungs. Ah! 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 Stellan watched with a mix of satisfaction and horror as the Roger fell off the spine and began plummeting through the air. So deep was the abyss that the sound when the bear hit the ground was hardly more than a muffled thunk. In this distance, he heard the other Rogers let out muffled screams and curses. Jite slid down the ice spine onto the slope of the volcano, safe at last. Stellan cried out with happiness and swept her into his arms. Third clung to her knees, his face wet with tears. They stood back to look at one another and stared, gasping in disbelief. The agony of separation was over. They pawed one another's fur as if to confirm that this was real, that these were not apparitions, that they were together again. Uluk betrayed us, Jite said, her voice ragged. Uluk drove us toward the Rogers. Look at this place, volcanoes. It's far from the sea. Why would our father be hunting here? She paused and inhaled deeply, trying to catch her breath. And that, Jite said, pointing to the ice clock, which was clearly visible, that is an evil place. I'm sure of it. They looked up at the monster clock that radiated a brutal glittering light, a fiendish wrath, as if it were waiting to devour the world. All right, next chapter is chapter 28. It's titled The Gilly Forest. See you later.